Hello and welcome to episode, I forgot, 36 of the RetroSlot podcast.
Starting out with a bang, Briar.
Just normal operating.
Yeah, there's nobody here anyways. Everybody's playing Destiny. It's fine.
That's right. I mean, hey, the witch cream is tasty. Let's say that, you know? Like, it's
Witch Queen.
It is very, so what I've played so far is very good, so I don't blame anybody for wanting to play it. This week, we got a ton of retro news to talk about. We got, the game of the week is Fester's Quest for the NES, which I said last episode, that I liked as a kid. We'll see if my my childhood memories hold up.
Kids don't know shit.
That's true. How you been? What have you been up to?
Oh man, good. Things are gonna be so busy with the Destiny content and stuff moving forward that it's just trying to enjoy all the moments of life and stuff. And this weekend I'm gonna be solo parenting all weekend while Wiferton spends the weekend with her mom for her birthday. So
oh boy,
it's gonna be a busy week, like Witch Queen all week, and then I'm solo parent all weekend, and then back to the grind on Monday. So
how far away is the raid? Like, because that's the date, right? It's like
the weekend after this weekend, so like 10 days or whatever.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a nice amount of time.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. I had a nice relaxing weekend. Usually I work, I do photography on the weekends, but I didn't have any jobs lined up this week. So I spent the whole weekend playing video games, relaxing. I played Fester's Quest, obviously. I played some Horizon Forbidden West, which is a beautiful game, just gorgeous game. And I played a bunch of King of Fighters 15, which just came out as well. And I'm enjoying that quite a bit. I've never really put any time into a King of Fighters game, even though I own all of them completely legit.
What platform is the new one on?
It's on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I'm playing on the PC. I wanted to buy the PlayStation 5 version, but before I bought it, I was lucky enough to see some input lag testing, and the PlayStation 5 had, I wouldn't say severe input lag, but high enough that people are noticing. So the PC was kind of like the recommended go-to. Yeah, for a fighting game, you don't want that. Which is unfortunate because I did want to buy it for the PS5, but hey, whatever. I bought it for the PC. I have a kind of a weird setup for PCs. I have one in my office where we're sitting at now, but I also have one in my living room, like a small form factor PC in my living room that I use for gaming as well. So like today I was playing Destiny on it. I was playing King of Fighters on it. So it's not too bad, you know. I kind of got sick of not being able to play PC games unless I was sitting in this office.
Yeah,
alone.
It gets to be
in the dark.
Sure. I mean, do you play games when there's stuff happening in the house? I can't.
Yeah. My kids are older, you know, so
yeah, it's true.
Stuff doesn't need my attention quite like it's not an emergency situation like at any minute like it used to be. It was funny. It's raining today, and I was playing Destiny, and my wife starts yelling for me. She's like, come here. I'm like, can this wait? I'm playing video games. I can't pause it.
Yeah, there's no pause button.
No, I can't wait. I'm like,
Harumph. But you're not going to tell us what was wrong. It was personal.
You know how the screen doors on like, a screen door have like the glass panels to keep the rain out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The one that's supposed to be on the bottom was on the top, and the one that's supposed to be on the top was on the bottom, so it was letting water in,
leaking in. Oh
yeah.
No.
So it took about like 36 seconds of scratching my head. I was like, oh, and I just crisis averted.
Nice.
Yeah, but I had a nice weekend. I've been playing a lot of video games this winter, and it's been nice, to be honest with you. Like I just been like a wide variety of video games too.
There's a lot of stuff coming out. I was going to ask, because you didn't work over the weekend, do you feel guilty as like a freelance or contractor type person when you're not doing something for work? If like your schedule is clear for the weekend, you feel guilty about it?
No, because I work enough that I don't feel bad about it when I take a day off. I'm one of those people too that like if you need a personal day, take a fucking personal day. You know, like don't work yourself to the bone for. You know, you're supposed to enjoy life. Like you can't work all the time. Like you're supposed to. I think you should. The priority should be enjoyment of life, and that you work so you can provide yourself with money so that you can, you know, have a house, have a car, and have money to enjoy life. I think it gets fucked up when those priorities get reversed and that you start living to work, right? And like when your focus becomes that part of life, I think shit can get fucked up. You know, families get broken up and like your priorities get all messed up.
Yeah,
personally,
it's sad that for a lot of folks, it's not really a choice, though. You know, like that they just kind of have to do that to survive in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the system and whatnot. Obviously, the ideal scenario is to be able to take a day off here and there and kind of relax and enjoy living. But yeah, it's one of the things that like my wife and I talk about all the time because she's a social worker. That just a lot of folks just don't really have that choice sometimes, and it can be really tough for them for sure.
The hardest I ever had it, I think, and I bet you have it now this way. I don't know, maybe you handle it better than I did. It's when I was streaming every day. Taking a day off for streaming, I've never felt guilty about taking a day off more than when I took a day off streaming because I felt like I was disappointing people. You know, that was, I think, the pinnacle of like not wanting to take a day off.
Right. Well, it's one of those situations like, how hard is your job playing video games?
It's harder than you think.
You really have to take a day off. Do you really? Is that really something?
It's harder than you think.
Yeah, I try not to talk too much about the difficulties of streaming because for the majority, it's like consumer impression, right? Like folks just don't understand unless they've done it.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's good to have like a circle of friends that you can vent to if you need to, like you know, other streamers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because the general public are like, dude, you play video games. I do manual labor. You know, like obviously it's not like a physical difficulty thing. It's just like a mental. You mind fuck yourself.
Yeah.
As far as like the guild and then like feeling inadequate, having imposter syndrome, stuff like that, or just feeling the need to be on all the time, be on social media, be, you know, in other people's streams, be streaming, be creating content. Like it's like a constant nagging at you. But I've been a freelancer forever. It's kind of why I asked about the guilt thing, because I feel guilty when I'm not doing something.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Well, lucky for me, playing video games is doing something.
Yeah, right. This is work.
This is work.
I'm recording.
I gotta talk about this game on the podcast, you know? It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff.
We got some good news this week. That Nintendo Direct, man. Like all I could think about was I wish we had a retro slot this week so we could talk about this Nintendo Direct. Because that Nintendo Direct was like, hey, you like retro games? Because we got fucking retro games, man.
and new games in retro style too.
Yeah.
Like, just I'm ecstatic. It's just watching some of the trailers. I didn't watch the whole Nintendo Direct. I just like went and got bits and pieces of stuff that I was excited about. When I saw announcements and stuff, but man, some of this stuff looks so damn good. And it pisses me off because, oh, you know what I didn't put on here? We can talk about it. The first thing, Nintendo is taking down the 3DS and Wii U shops. I forgot to put it on the list, but
I forgot to too. I can't believe I forgot because I've been thinking about it a lot, honestly.
Yeah. But how does Nintendo? It's so funny. We love Nintendo, but they do some really shady, kind of not good things. But I want to talk. I'd love to talk about this and get your perspective. So, I don't know. Did they give a date? Do you remember?
I think it's like this March or this May that they're cutting off credit cards, so you'll be able to actually purchase points for the shop, and then it's sometime next year that they're actually shutting down all commerce. It's just going to shut it down.
But if you've downloaded games or purchased games, can you still access them on those systems?
I don't believe so. I think you have to download them, and then at that point, once they shut it down, you won't be able to re-download it anymore.
If you have like a memory card or something, you're good. You can still access, like, play them.
Yeah, you can still play it if you have a
If
copy,
you
but if
have
you're
them on the hard copy,
the
and
Wii
there's stuff that's
U,
like digital only, right?
yeah, the Wii U though, those games are locked to the console itself. They're not locked to an account. So if you have hardware issue with your Wii U and you have to get another one, then those games are gone.
Yeah. And the
Um,
funny thing is about that, and it was the same way with the Wii, is like when you go to sell or trade in, games on the system don't really add a whole lot of value,
no,
even though
because
you've
they're
spent
yeah.
digital. This is the problem with digital versus physical media, really.
Yeah. Uh, it's kind of funny because when they shut down the Wii store initially, that was several years ago now. That's kind of when I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna buy digital games anymore if I can help it,
Hmm.
because I don't want to be I don't want to be caught in that place where you know these things that I purchased have no value and I can no longer access, like worst case scenario. Like on PC, it's the worst because it's all like on my whole entire Steam library is DRM, right? It's like if Steam went out of business tomorrow, you'd
You're
be up
fucked.
shit's creek. Like you'd be better off if you paid everything, if you bought everything on Good Old Games, who doesn't use DRM, then at least you could save a backup, of your
Yeah.
games and have them forever. But I don't know. It's really scary to me, and it really sucks because a lot of those games are just lost to time. Unless somebody pirated them, which they have.
Yeah.
They have totally done that, and you can easily crack a Wii U and a 3DS. Not hard.
Yeah. I mean, the argument is for this podcast, it's like, is this stuff retro? And I mean, like Wii U and 3DS isn't supported anymore. Wii U is not supported anymore. So it's already getting into the conversation of retro. And also they house a lot of retro games that are not accessible elsewhere
Yeah,
on those virtual consoles.
yeah,
Um, and man, like I'm really curious if this is the beginning of this might also be one of the reasons why the retro market has been spiking so hard in the last couple of years is people coming to the realization like, hey, physical media is forever, digital isn't.
yeah. Well, I've noticed, Jay. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've noticed that new games have not gone down in price as rapidly as I remember in the past. Because now I try and buy all my games in a physical copy if I can. Right. That's why I wanted to buy that fighting game I was just talking about, that King of Fighters
Mhm.
15 for the PlayStation 5, is because I wanted to buy a physical copy of the game so I'd have it in my library of games.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I bought it on Steam, so I didn't get to get a digital copy of it or a physical copy of it. But like, I don't know. I don't even know where I was going there. I lost the plot on that one.
But you had to end up getting it on Steam, which probably is a safe bet because Steam's been around for what, 20 years now?
I mean, who knows though,
So,
right? Because like somebody could come along and Microsoft could buy Steam 2 weeks from
man,
now.
how big would that sale
It
be?
would be a
Yeah.
huge sale, right? It'd be a huge thing. But then and then we all trust Phil Spencer with Microsoft right now, but who's going to take over Microsoft gaming in 5-10 years? Like, who knows? It
Yep.
could be another Don Matrick who has no respect for any of this stuff. He wants to sell movies and TV shows on the Xbox, or on Steam. So
Right.
it's all, and there's a lot of games that just are really hard to get now. Like there was the Contra and Castlevania games on the Wii that you just can't get unless you pirate now, which is sad because those developers
Yeah.
deserve to still be making money when people want to buy those games, I think.
Right. Yeah. My question is, I was thinking about why and how Nintendo can get away with this stuff, and I was like, well, like when Sony was trying to do this, people were up in arms, right? Because like you can still access like the PSP, Vita, PS4, PS3, all of that stuff. Same with
Yeah.
Xbox. You can access like the last 15, 20 years of digital games, which as a consumer, I love that. But Nintendo has set this precedence already, going back as far as the Wii, like these games are not forever, right?
Yeah.
And if you access and pay for some of these virtual console games on this system, you may not be able to access it in the future. So like we've come to expect that from them. So people aren't as upset about this as they were with the PlayStation stuff. But I'm wondering if the reason that they're doing it, man, I had this whole idea and I've kind of forgotten. But it's a way for them to like sell the games back to us again and bring them out
That could be.
as, because some of that stuff that was on the virtual console has been re-released and whatnot.
Sure.
There was a whole
Almost
different
like
idea
the
that I
Disney
had.
Vault back in the day, where they just put out
Right.
like Disney VHS tapes for a few months, and then they stopped selling them, and they wouldn't sell them again for a couple years to increase demand.
Right.
Maybe. I mean, that I suspected that's what they were doing with that Nintendo Mario All Stars. Was that was last year, where they
Yeah,
they
saying that
said,
they're gonna not. Yeah.
yeah, they said we're gonna have this out for a limited amount of time, physical copy, and digital. But like, why take that off the store? Like, why do that?
Yeah.
Or Tetris 99. Why take that off the store? Why stop people from playing that game?
I mean, yeah, they're creating demand, and it's really interesting how the mindset is. I've had people tell me, I bought 3 copies of 3D Mario All Stars and I'm keeping them sealed in a box in my closet. I'm like, you and a million other people did the same shit. Like
That's the
problem is
Superman dies comic book.
right. It's like when a developer or when a company tells you that something is going to be quote unquote rare and we're not going to do it, like everybody has the same idea, and it prevents it from doing what you want and expect it to do, because literally everybody has the same idea. It's the reason stuff gets to be so valuable is because it's the things that nobody thought that others would keep
Yeah.
or keep preserved or whatever are the things that, like, oh, 20 years ago we didn't
That's
keep
why
any of
nothing
that
in your
shit.
collection is worth any fucking money, right? Like, well, not you
Yeah.
specifically, Jay. I'm talking to the listener who's not like actually like trying to make a collection worth money.
Yeah. Or people buying new boxes of Pokemon cards and like, I'm going to save this for 10 years sealed. It's like, yeah, it might double or triple in price, but you're not going to have $1 million box. You're not going to have a $400,000 box like the original stuff. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Is it really worth to keep the space for 10 to 20 years to maybe make 100 or $200 on it? Is it really worth that?
I don't know.
I would say no. I think there's better ways to invest your money. If you can get something worth $200 now for 50 to 100, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But buying something at $50 that's worth $50 now, thinking it's going to be worth thousands of dollars 20 years from now, 10, 20 years, it's just I don't know. I'm not that person. I can't hold on to something for that long thinking that I'm going to. It's like that stocks stuff. It's weird. Anyways.
I'm big on paying somebody else to do that for me.
Speaking of holding stuff, sealed.
Yeah, this shit was crazy. Can you imagine?
A lot of folks probably saw this video. An old retro store that went out of business, like in the mid '90s. The stock was found. It was preserved in like bins.
Yeah.
It's
Sealed
probably
games.
over $1 million. Yeah, over $1 million probably of stuff if you got it graded, like sealed Earthbound, sealed Final Fantasy 3, sealed Breath of Fire, like just some huge heavy hitter type games.
Yeah.
And it was quote unquote found. Basically, the story is somebody brought like 2 games into a game room in Nebraska, and they're like, "What do you think, this kind of game would be worth?" And it's sealed, and they're just like oozing drool out of their mouths, because not only did it have like, I think it was NBA Jam, like a sealed NBA Jam, and then there was another game that he had that was super rare, but they didn't want to like even say what it was. And he's like, I have a lot more where this came from. So he basically took them to whatever the warehouse, whatever place they were holding the games, and they took like a minute and a half or whatever 10-minute shaky video cam of this stuff, and it makes me palpitate. Like I was sweating basically watching this. Like, man, this is my dream of finding a treasure trove like this.
It's fun to think that stuff like that's out there.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. Obviously, they're going to get it all graded and sold, and it's going to go like for thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. it's just, I mean, they're gonna try to maximize their profit. It's just the way of business. It is what it is. It's
Yeah.
sad to a certain degree that um probably not a lot of collectors are gonna get their hands on this stuff. It's gonna be like investors and shit. But they're getting put into the market, so maybe that'll bring prices down on some other stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem like it was enough games to make an impact like that.
No, it's just like probably a handful of each title kind of thing.
Yeah. Still though, fun to think about. It's
Crazy.
like thinking about winning the lotto or something, right? Like, what would you
Yeah,
do if
big
you
time.
found like a fucking like a storage box? What do you call those? Like the storage
Storage unit.
unit full of old video games. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I will say I think Game Room's doing the right thing. They're facilitating the sales for the individual, I think, basically who owned the old game store. They're not like,
For a
"Hey, we'll
small
give
commission,
you
I'm sure.
10 grand. We'll give you 10 grand for all this stuff." You know, they're not, and then like reselling it for $1 million. They're not doing that. I respect it. So they're like, "Hey, let us help you, and we'll take I'm guessing they'll take a percentage
That's
of all
probably a
the
hefty
sales."
percentage too, even
Yeah,
if it's
no,
like 10
like
or
it's
20%.
right. But is the person probably doesn't have to deal with all of it, and also it's beneficial for Game Room because not only are they profiting, they're getting their name out there as part of this whole story. So
Yeah,
I think they're kind of probably doing it the way that it should be done, to be
good.
honest. I feel like the next story is more relevant to you than me, even though I put it on the list.
MAME's 25 years old, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It feels 25 years old, to be honest with you. The interface.
It was created in the 90s. Isn't that nuts? I
It
did
is
not
nuts.
remember finding out about it until the early 2000s, probably 2003, 2004.
Yeah,
when
me
I really
too.
started
Probably.
figuring
Yeah,
out like emulation and stuff.
same. I remember downloading it like probably around that time, like 2003, 2000, like early to mid 2000s, and being like, "Hey, this is kind of neat." But mostly, what it was like the real old, like arcade games, like Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galactica or Galaga. Sorry. Like that kind of stuff, like real old stuff.
TV show,
Battlestar Galactica on MAME. But
For those who don't know what MAME is, you want to explain?
yeah, it's an emulation for arcade games, and it's pretty amazing because emulation for arcade games isn't like emulation for a console where you can write one program in theoretically any game that you put in there, any ROM that you put in there. Like so, if you write an emulator for a Sega Genesis, any Sega Genesis theoretically runs on that. But with MAME, it's much different because every one of those arcade games had different hardware, right? So you have to emulate like all those different microchips and all the different configurations. It's really detailed work, and they've put just thousands and thousands of hours into doing this. And it's really important too because for some of these things, like those old boards are dying. Like they're just not going to last, right? They haven't been taken care of. They were first, they lived their life, a hard life in the arcade itself, right? With cigarette smoke and Pepsi being spilled on them and being kicked by kids. And then when they weren't wanted anymore, they're probably just like thrown into some like dusty, mildewy warehouse somewhere if they weren't just like destroyed in general. I mean, there are collectors out there, but the collector market for arcade games is relatively small, compared to how many games were actually out there. So this is a big thing for game preservation as well as being able to look back and see these older arcade games that were so big in the 80s, 90s, I think it's just a valuable service for humanity as well as like, hey, I get to play Burger Time, on any PC, or I get to play, whatever arcade game from back then. And MAME the MAME group is pretty responsible. Like if a manufacturer tells them to take a game off, they do, right? It's like, that's happened in the past where like they said, hey, that game's a little too new for it to be in MAME. Okay, we'll take it out. Which I think is pretty reasonable way to approach that kind of thing,
Yeah. Does MAME also emulate? You can emulate other consoles and whatnot with MAME, or is it just arcades?
It's really focused on arcade. Like the Neo Geo is in there, so that's borderline, I guess. But I wouldn't use MAME for Neo Geo anyway. I'd use Fightgate 2 probably, because then you can play it against other people online.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
But yeah, MAME is really cool, and like it's super fun to play around with too. Like because you download everything all at once when you do it. Is you download all the ROMs and you download the emulator. So then you just are presented with thousands and thousands of arcade games, anything from Mortal Kombat to, Tapper to, Journey. There's an arcade game. I was messing around with this one night. It's an arcade game based on Journey, the band. And it is a bizarre, bizarre game.
It was in the arcade?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's old. It's like from the 80s, too. So it's like got like the faces of the band like bouncing off of like trampolines. Like, it's weird. I'm having trouble like remembering the details, but I just remember it being absolutely bizarre. I think it's on Mister actually too. Yeah. But yeah, MAME is a valuable thing, not just for like the fun factor of playing those old arcade games, but also as a way of preserving those games for the future.
Yeah, that's cool. Moving on, Earthbound Beginnings and Earthbound are now available. I think we talked about it 2 weeks ago that they said it was going to be in February, and they just like, here we go. I think,
boom.
Was it around the time of the Nintendo Direct? I think they were just like, it's now available.
Yeah, I think it was the Nintendo Direct. Yeah.
So it's part of, if you have Switch Online, which is $20 a year, it is available. And what Earthbound Beginnings is Mother 1, which was never available in the States, at least officially. I'm pretty sure they did, fanned. You can get like little emulated carts and stuff, GBA and probably Super Nintendo 2 of that game, but not like an officially licensed game. And then Earthbound is obviously the one that we got here in the States.
Yeah.
I'm no word on Mother 3 or anything either, by the way. For
Mother 3, I've heard that it deals with suicide, and that may be the reason Nintendo doesn't really want to touch it.
Could be. That's another one of those that you can get as like an emulated cart kind of thing, which I have for GBA. My question is, with Earthbound Beginnings, did they take the kind of the English adaptions of that from people that had already done it, or did they do their own translations for this internally?
I don't know. I would imagine that Nintendo would have done their own translation or hired somebody to do it, but I don't know the details. I haven't read up on that.
Yeah, it would definitely. I think it would be good to probably have that be the case. So that would be a good hope.
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome. I personally have never played those games, so this may be my chance. Maybe that'll be a future pick of the week. Is one of the Earthbound games?
Yeah. Now that it's accessible, because it's not really a fungible or like an accessible thing to buy a cart anymore.
Right.
Like it's always been expensive, but the interesting thing about Earthbound is that while everybody loves it, it was not like everybody loves the idea of Earthbound, but it wasn't a great seller.
No,
it wasn't highly reviewed. It was obscure. I mean, really mixed reviews. Some people were like, it's not as good as you remember it, and other people just loved it. It was just, I think it was because it was different, and it took on a different perspective of what like an RPG is, because before that it was like Dragon Warrior, Final Fantasy, Zelda to an extent, but like it was just very different. Like there was nothing that had come before it that was anything like it. So I think people remember it more fondly now as a game from back then as people, because like people didn't play it a lot back then, really.
I watched a review on it several years ago, and I remember like by the end that game goes places too. Like psychologically, it goes like way deeper than the graphics would make you think it's gonna go. Because the graphics look kind of kiddie and like but it
almost
goes
like
places.
Comic Sans graphics in a video game.
Sure, yeah, I think that's a good descriptor.
You could, yeah. So, and then going on from the Nintendo Direct, there was a bunch of other ones that I kind of wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
And I watched some trailers and stuff and talk about when they're going to get released. I didn't put them in order here, but Front Mission, which I've never played a Front Mission
I haven't
game,
either.
is getting a remake.
Those
The
are
only thing that
those were for the PlayStation, right? That's when they started coming out.
I believe that is correct. And there's a bunch of Front Mission games, I think.
Yeah.
And I think I think there's one on like 360 too, potentially.
Okay.
But it's supposed to come out in summer 2022, but all they showed us was like a little teaser of like a machine, and they did like, kind of like a scan of it, and then they had like an enemy machine, and it's like and then that's the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot,
Yeah.
so who knows?
I mean, I think these are kind of niche games, the Front Mission games. I think they're like tactical RPGs with mechs, I think.
Right.
Some people are into that.
Yeah, there was a 360, there was a DS game. It was on Super Famicom, PlayStation 2.
Oh, so it did go back to the Super Famicom days, huh?
Yeah, that looks like it. If Super Famicom, PlayStation would probably be around the same time, I think. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 would be the last one.
Honestly, though, that is like just the beginning.
I know. Who knows? All right. The next one is Chrono Cross is getting a remaster. So they're basically taking the original games and just making them look better. This is coming out in April. On
Quote
April 7th,
unquote better. Did you see the trailer for this thing?
I did. I feel like I feel like the thing was the videos, like the cutscenes were still pretty original and low res, but the actual gameplay was like it felt like they took the sprites and made them HD, but a lot of the backgrounds are still kind of low res.
It looked like they put like a big smear filter on the entire thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
It looked bad. It looked real bad. But they've come out and said
like an emulated Final Fantasy game or something.
Yeah, like a poorly emulated Final Fantasy game. Like they have those like, eagle filters, H2QX filters, and like that kind of thing. It looked like that, but like turned up to 11. They have said since the reaction that they got that there will be a pixel perfect way to play this as well, which is great. Like that's what you want is like, just give me the pixels.
Up res, just more pixels. Yeah. So that comes out April 7th.
That's awesome.
Then,
however, going along with that, you'd like to see Chrono Trigger. Because they're still not, like, the most recent Chrono Trigger release was for what? The 3DS. So it'd be nice to get that
regular
for the Switch
DS.
as well. The DS, sorry.
The regular DS, yeah.
It'd be nice if that came along with this, right? Or,
perfect.
Something like the Collection of Mana where you got, like, all 3 games. Like, if they were to do something with the Chrono Cross, because the Chrono Cross remaster also comes with like another game that was for like the Satellaview included in the package, which never came to the US either. I can't remember what that like Chronicles of Cross or I can't remember what it was called or something. Yeah. Requiem of Cross.
That's interesting. Why wouldn't Chrono Trigger be included in this?
I don't know. To me, that's a little confusing because it's by far the more popular. Chrono Cross has not been, I don't think, remastered as often. It's great to see Chrono Cross, so this isn't a complaint, but it'd be nice to see Chrono Trigger as well.
Actually, hold on.
In addition to, so maybe Chrono Trigger will come to Switch Online, or maybe it will come to, like, maybe it'll make an appearance later. But it'd be nice to get a new version of Chrono Trigger. I mean, Square's all over the place right now, right? It's like they're doing the Pixel Remaster series for all the first 6 Final Fantasies. They just did the Secret of the Mana collection, which was all 3 the Secret of Mana games, and then they also for the first time remastered Trials of Mana. Like they're all over the place. They've got more stuff that we're going to talk about later. They have been like they just did Final Fantasy VII twice, right? Because they did the remaster that they put out for the Switch and the PlayStation and the PC. But then they also did like the remake,
yeah.
Remake, so like they're all over the place with this stuff right now.
Yeah, I would bet, and I would put all of my stock in the fact that Chrono Trigger will be available on Nintendo Online. If I was a betting man, which I am, that's what I'm betting. And it would make sense too that it wouldn't be included in this if they're doing that.
Do you think Nintendo pays Square like a shitload of money to do that? Because otherwise, Square could just put it on a Switch cartridge and sell it.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a licensing agreement and royalties and all that stuff that would go with it. Sure.
Anyhow, it's awesome to get Chrono Cross because that's
Yeah.
an expensive PlayStation game.
Chrono Cross isn't.
Oh, it's not?
No.
I thought it was like $100.
No, it's 15 disc only, 45 complete ish.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, that's like kind of where Final Fantasy VII is ish.
Okay.
The next games, however, are very expensive right now.
Yeah.
Like Klonoa 1 and 2 getting remastered. Remastered again, similar to Chrono Cross, but this looked a lot better.
Yeah,
Did
this
you
is
see the trailer for Klonoa.
Yeah, this looks great.
Yeah. So
This looks like
Klonoa,
a modern HD remaster.
yeah. This one, for some reason, not as much Klonoa 2, but Klonoa 1 for PlayStation is astronomically expensive right now, and
I feel like that's always been expensive. Like as soon as it came out, it was expensive.
I mean, before the pandemic, yeah, I'd say it was in the 200 range. It's more than double that now.
Okay.
It's like in the 5 to
I've never gotten to
600
play
range.
these games either, so I'm actually looking forward to this. I'm going to pick Klonoa up. I'm going to pick a lot of these games up, honestly.
Yeah, if
when
there's
they
a
come
physical release for Klonoa, I probably will as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it going to be 1 and 2 in the same package, or are they going to sell it in 2 separate packages?
No, it's the same. It's the same package.
Perfect. I'm definitely going to pick that up too, and that's in July. There's going to be kind of a drought in July, I think, for new games.
Could be.
So perfect for this kind of thing.
Yeah, July 8th is when that's getting released. April 7th on Chrono Cross, in case you missed it. The next one I'm super excited about, Advanced Wars 1 and 2, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
They gave some more details about it in the Nintendo Direct. This is coming out April 8th. And I got my pre-order in like while I was doing these notes. I was like, I'm just because you can get a physical edition of this.
Oh, where do you get a pre-order?
I'm anywhere, Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, physical edition. So they're doing voices for all the characters, which is dope.
Yeah, is it? I don't know if it is.
You don't like it?
I don't know yet. Sometimes it's nice when there's voices, so you don't have to read everything. But sometimes, especially with like kind of kiddie type games, there's a lot of high pitched yelling. So we'll see. I mean, the new art style does look kind of cartoonish. I'm a little worried that they're gonna really.
That was always the art style.
Yeah, the art style is different though, for sure. Right, the new art style is definitely different than the old art style. I don't mind the new art style, but it does look a little more. I don't know. I'm a little worried about the voice acting. That's all.
I feel like there was another. Oh, it includes 4-player multiplayer functionality, and it allows users to join forces to take on enemy AI.
Will there be matchmaking?
Play
That'd be cool.
online as well.
Will there be matchmaking for that?
It says you'll be able to play online, so through the Nintendo Online service, which is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've never played the original games, it's a tactical game.
Yeah.
So for those who like Fire Emblem and those kind of things, and Ogre Battle and stuff like that, but
less so though. I feel like it was a little simpler, a little more approachable, and a little easier,
it was
bite-sized, chunky.
Right. It was more approachable and up to a point.
Yeah,
I
it got
remember
hard
as a
eventually.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like in the beginning you're like, yeah, I really enjoy this, and after a while you're like, I can't beat this level. Like you're just trying everything you can do and you just can't. I don't know. I had a real hard time with it at a certain point, but I really enjoyed my time with it. I'll probably try it again as an adult, see if I can get past stuff.
Yeah, it would have been cooler if they called it Switch Wars.
It's true, because Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that would be like a licensing issue there.
Yeah. Maybe.
So April 8th for this one. A lot of stuff in April and July, it looks like.
Yeah. This
Next game,
one
Star Wars.
Terrible.
I didn't watch the trailer for this. Star Wars Force Unleashed. It's just a remaster. It's again one of those just make it look pretty for the system kind of thing.
So
because it was originally on the Wii.
I own this game on the Xbox 360, and I had to pop the game in to my Xbox 360 to see if it looked as bad as it did in this trailer, because this is the Wii version that's being remastered, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Thank God. So I will not be
The
picking
Xbox
this up.
360 looks better.
Oh, it looks way better. Way
That's
better.
funny.
I mean, the Wii was not nearly as powerful as
No.
the Xbox 360. So yeah, I was like, I mean, it looks like a Wii game with like just up-resed. You know, it looked bad. I was like, I'm watching. I'm like, this game didn't look like this because I didn't play it on the Wii. Who played this game on the Wii? Nobody.
Yeah. It was on everything at the time too. PlayStation, Xbox, all
Yeah.
the things. It's coming out April 20th though. For those that are interested, this one feels like one that would just be digital only, and it's probably not going to be very expensive. So,
Or
like on the Switch.
if Limited Run gets their hands on it, they'll do like a big box set version to go because they've been releasing all the Star Wars games lately.
Sure. You feel like this would be too recent for them to do one though? Do they do many 360, PS3 era
Yeah, they
games?
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they have. I can't remember the most recent one, but they've fairly recent.
Gotcha. Yeah, April 20th on that. The next one, and I wanna preface this. I was not expecting to care about this game when I read about it. So there's a game. It was Japanese only. It's called Live Alive. Did you watch the trailer for this?
Yeah,
Doesn't it look absolutely incredible?
it looks dope. That art style that they're used. You made note of it here. The Octopath Traveler, also Triangle Strategy that's coming out. I think in March or April is using that same kind of. It's like a tilt shift pixel graphic HD thing. They're calling it like Pixel HD. I think it's Square internally or externally. It looks awesome. I've never heard of this before. Like from what I understand, it came out on the Super NES back in the day. It never came
very
here.
popular game.
Yeah,
in Japan too.
Yeah, in Japan. It never came. It never left Japan apparently, but it looked cool. I just like that art style.
Yeah, this will get a physical release as well. It's releasing July 22nd of this year. I will be pre-ordering this ASAP. Like, I saw this and I was blown away. Like, I don't know what it is about this art style. It's like because Super Nintendo is my favorite system, so it's got that 16-bit SNES style with all the HD accoutrement in the background and like the drop shadows and just like. It reminds me so much of the GBA and the SNES and stuff, but just for this generation, oh my god! Like I was legitimately blown away. I don't know what it is. I just love it.
Yeah,
so
it looks great.
That's what I'm excited about.
Like it looks mouthwatering.
Yeah. I moved the thing that was here to the bottom because I figured it would start a conversation. So if you want to cover the next two things.
Okay, yeah. Capcom Fighter Collection was announced. This was actually announced on Sunday at the same time they announced the Street Fighter 6. But this is actually, to some people, more interesting because this comes with 10 fighting games from Capcom's kind of arcade history, including 5 Darkstalkers games, which there weren't really 5 Darkstalkers games. There were 3. But, you know, semantics a little bit because they did do like 2 arcade like re-releases that had like character swaps and stuff like that, so you can call it 5 if you want to, Capcom, but we all know there was 3. But then also some other really cool stuff like Gem Fighter, like Red Earth, Hyper Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Collection. Really like a really strong lineup of not what you would expect for a collection like this. Games that they just don't release that often. The last time I think they released Darkstalkers collection, I think was for the PS3, and I looked for it not that long ago. I think it was going for like $100, like for the disc version, and I had to pick it up on PSN before PSN went away. But yeah, this is a really cool thing. So here's the best part. Is all of these games are going to feature online play with rollback netcode, and they're going to have training modes in them. So you know, for the first time you're going to have like, you know, online play with with real like good netcode, like for these games, like for Darkstalkers, for Gem Fighter, for If you never played Gem Fighter 2, it's not called Gem Fighter in the U.S. What the heck is it called in the U.S.? I keep calling it Gem Fighter. But it's kind of like the chibi Street Fighter. Oh, Super Puzzle Fighter Turbo.
Yeah,
2.
yeah.
No, that's the puzzle one. Super Gem Fighter Mini Mix. Okay, so it is called Gem Fighter. This is like the chibi Street Fighter, right? So all the characters are like little kitty size. And this game did not do well when it came out in arcades. And I played it on the Saturn. I only played it on the Saturn for the first time last year, just because I had gotten it from my uncle totally legally. And I was blown away by how much fun it is. It's like a real ass fighting game with like really cool mechanics. And if you're into Street Fighter, there's a ton of nostalgia because they're constantly like referencing other things from other Capcom games and stuff like that. So to put this online for online play, that's going to be the first time ever for this game. And you know, it's going to have good like rollback netcode and a training mode, so you can like learn like how to do combos and stuff in training mode. Cool.
Nice.
Cool. Cyberbots, Red Earth, like those are games you just don't hear about anymore.
Is this going to have a physical release?
Yeah, I believe so. For
Oh, nice.
PlayStation, Xbox,
Probably.
PC, and Switch, I believe.
I was going to say this feels like a Switch game. Like
No, Switch. That was the thing. No, okay, Switch
No
is okay.
Switch?
Switch is there. Switch is there.
okay, I was going to
PS4, Xbox, and Switch. Yeah.
even though, you know, I don't generally like using Joy-Con and stuff, like just getting a game that's Capcom just feels like it needs to be on Nintendo hardware. I don't know what it is
Yeah.
for me. Like playing Capcom stuff on like PlayStation and whatnot just feels weird to me.
Yeah. I have one of those Hori. I don't know where it is right now. It's one of those Hori D-pad Joy-Cons.
Right, the split pad
No,
pad Pro.
No, it just
I
looks
picked
like
one
a
up
regular.
and he's off the screen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's right here. I just wanted
Oh,
to
you're
show it. It's just a regular. It looks like a regular Switch,
Oh, okay.
but it's got an actual D-pad on it.
Oh, okay.
And that's
cool.
not bad for. Oh, there you go. Now you can see it a little better. That's
retro
not
style
bad
games.
for retro style games. It's not. It doesn't have batteries in it, and it doesn't have rumble in it. But for gaming on the go, it's not too bad to get an actual D-pad. And like for fighting games, you can do a Dragon Punch, you can do a Fireball motion, no problem. So like for something like this, I'll get it for the Switch, and so I can play on the couch. But I'll also get this one for PlayStation, so I can play it with an arcade stick for reals. You know, I gotta
Just gonna go hard.
swing this bitch around a little bit, make some noise.
Gotta show it off. Yeah. Like how many this has a couple of games that hasn't been released locally or at least in the US, right?
Well,
Some of these games.
Vampire Hunter 2 and Vampire Savior 2 were Japan-only arcade releases, but they're really just remixes, character-wise, of Vampire Savior and Night Warriors. So it's...
Okay.
I had to read Wikipedia on this one because it's a little confusing, frankly.
Yeah.
So it's like calling Championship Edition a new game, which
Sure.
you could. You definitely could, right? But it's Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a cool collection. Red Earth is a really kind of cool fighting game. This is way better. I still play the 30th anniversary collection. That was mostly just it was like all the Street Fighters, right? But this is way better. This has got online with rollback netcode and training modes. This is dope.
You know what I
Psyched
think
about
they
it.
should do with the Street Fighter IP?
What's that? Another movie.
Make
Me
an
too.
make an RPG.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I'd be into that.
Or potentially a story based, like do an RPG and then also do a story based single player experience similar to Batman Arkham Asylum or Spider-Man. Like
Have you
the people
played the
that did
most
those
recent like
games-
Mortal Kombat games? Like Mortal Kombat 10 or 11?
No.
They have single player story modes that are like hours and hours long, and they are awesome. Obviously,
Nice.
they're different in tone than you might
Right.
want from Street Fighter, but I would love for them to just do like a really dope ass story mode in new Street Fighter games where You play as different characters. You get like the story. You get interactions. Like, I recommend anybody play the most recent Mortal Kombat game. Like, if you're a fighting fan or not, because going through the campaign in that is a ton of fun, and it's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, they're really fun.
Nice. Yeah.
I bought that
Mortal
game 3
Kombat's
times.
been
I
out
bought it
there.
on Switch, I bought it on PC, and I bought it on the PS5.
Well, it's been around a minute.
It has
It
been.
didn't release on the Switch till a year or two later than all the other consoles, right?
Yeah, and it looks terrible on the Switch. Like, real bad.
Perfect. Ship it.
I thought this one was kind of cool. The sequel to Genryu for the Neo Geo. This came out in 1999. This game was announced, Genryu 2. This is coming out this year. They have announced the physical copy, but they haven't announced one for the US yet. But you can order it for PlayAsia, like the European version, because these are French developers, apparently. But it's such a weird thing to think, who made a sequel to 1999's Genryu for the Neo Geo, right? But it's a cool-ass game. It's like a ninja side-scrolling. It reminds me of like a cross between Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden a little bit, you know? Like, it's...
You're going real fast. Like,
yeah.
He's just like you're running with your, like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Your Naruto run.
Fast. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks badass, doesn't it?
It does. The only thing, there's something about it that bugs me, though.
What's
I'm watching through this. It's like cell shaded. The character sprite looks a little funky to me. But the backgrounds and the environments look good. The motion looks good. The gameplay looks good. But there's something about the player character that kind of looks weird to
Not
me.
digging
I
it,
don't know.
huh?
I'm watching this trailer. It's just, I don't know. It just looks like it doesn't look like it's connected to what's going on the screen. It looks like a separate character to me. I don't know. Just something weird. Almost like the outlines of the character model and stuff are too thin.
Oh, okay.
Like it's not as dense of a model as I would like. I don't know. I'm just getting nitpicky at this point, but it does look super cool.
Yeah, it does. I'm not really. I don't agree with you on that. I think it looks dope as shit, and I'm definitely buying it. And I'm gonna play the original Genryu to get ready for it. And you might have to look out, Jay, because if that thing's available on the Switch, it might be coming up as because we've never done a Neo Geo game.
It's true.
Watch
I own
out.
zero
Watch
Neo
yourself.
Geo stuff. Yeah. I'm not buying any Neo Geo stuff. That stuff's expensive.
No.
We're talking about like thousands of dollars for
yeah.
like one game.
Yeah.
This
Every
is
once in a
getting a
while,
physical
I flirt with buying a Neo Geo board. Because you could convert them into console. You could consoleize a Neo Geo board. And then you could buy an SD card loader. But I'm like, I already have a Mister. Why would I do this? Like, what is the point here?
So this is getting a physical release as well, and I think a limited edition that they're only making 1,000 of that'll have like artwork and goodies and holographic sticker, but it's also getting a digital edition as well.
Yeah.
PlayStation and Switch only for the physical edition though, but digital will be available on Steam as Xbox as well, and Xbox, excuse me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely want to get a physical copy of this. If I got to get the European version, that's fine. As long as it has English text in it. I mean, I ordered stuff from PlayAsia relatively frequently, so that's not a big deal.
I only just learned recently that the Switch is region free.
Yeah. But you got to be careful that it has the English language on it.
Yeah.
On the game.
Nintendo always flips back and forth between region free and non-region free.
Do they?
Yeah. There's old consoles like GBA was region locked. I think the DS may have also been region locked. I can't remember.
I heard a funny one. This is the GameCube. If you put a foreign country disc in your GameCube and then tried to save your game, it would reformat your memory card for the new region. So you'd lose all the game saves that were on your GameCube.
Oh, by the way,
card.
Yikes. So the next thing I figured it would start a conversation here. We've covered this game. Super Mario RPG director, I should have gotten his name, said he'd like to make Super Mario RPG 2 before he's done making games, like before he retires. He's like, let's do it. And everybody's just like, please don't tease me. Please, please, please.
Yeah. Like, do you know anything about this? Like, was that the holdup? Was that this guy didn't want to do it, or?
No, I think it's not that at all.
Oh, so no news then.
Chihiro Fujioka is the name of.
Okay.
Who's the director of Super Mario RPG. I think he's probably been talking to Square like, let's go, let's get this done, and he's just like fed up with it and making it public now to try to see if he can get the public to help convince Square.
But you think Square's the holdup, or you think Nintendo's the holdup?
I don't know. I mean, Square and Nintendo are doing stuff together now, or at least they have been for a while.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't this be a thing? Or maybe it's in development, and it's, this is a game that would probably take a few years to make. How good would a Super Mario RPG remake be, or not a remake, a sequel on the Switch?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how good. Good, I guess. I mean, they kind of
think about it.
They're spiritually still making those games, right? Like, they just made a Super Mario. What was it called with the paper craft?
Paper Mario's a whole different thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's completely different, and so is Mario and Luigi. Mario and Luigi's probably the closest thing to it. And this guy, he's like, yeah, Mario and Luigi's cool, but we should make a Super Mario RPG too.
I wouldn't get your hopes up based on this. Like, this is not the actions of a man who just got a deal signed.
No, this is something that's probably not in development at all.
This is like, maybe if I get the public support, like, they'll help me get this game.
Exactly. But if they did it in the style of like Octopath Traveler, or, I mean, even in a more HD style would be super cool, having the high def sprites and stuff in there.
I sometimes wonder, like, why don't anybody make like sprite, like HD, like 4K sprite games? Like, how cool would that be, right? Because whenever you see sprite games, they always look like NES or Super Nintendo games. I just watched like a short, like 15-minute documentary on the making of King of Fighters 12, where they tried to do this, right? They tried to make like high definition sprites for a modern fighting game. This was like in 2012. And it took them 16 months per character in man hours.
Because it's a ridiculous amount of pixels per character, and you think about the motion and everything, you gotta like
all the animations and everything,
hand draw all that shit.
Yeah.
I'd
like a pixel, like a I mean, pixel art.
I mean,
cool.
They could create, like, why don't they create a system that can do it for them? Like, here, I'm gonna create a high def image, and we have this app that's going to.
Well, what they do, I think, is rotoscoping, where they take a 3D model, right, and they animate the 3D model, but then they draw like a animation over it, so it still looks hand drawn, but it's got the movement and fluidity of a 3D model. I think it's like a quicker way to do it. Anyhow.
But if they can automate the pixel creation side of it, then it would save a lot of time and effort as well.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Jay, I fucking told you Fester's Quest was good. You're welcome.
Fuck you.
So you're saying you didn't enjoy it?
Dude, I gave up. Like, I was raging at this game. Raging. I was like, what the fuck? Multiple times. You can't tell me you enjoyed it.
I did. It took me, I went through several layers of emotion with this game. I ordered it off of eBay. I got it. I was like, ooh, it looks just like I remember. I threw it in the Nintendo. I booted it up. I was like, oh, this is not good. This is real bad. But then I did a little research on it. I read the manual. This game, big time RTFM. If you don't read the manual of this game, you're doing yourself a disservice. And then I also watched a couple of strategy videos about it, like because there's some weird stuff happening in this game. Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Once I got the hang of it, though, I found it to be very enjoyable, and I did complete it. It only takes about an hour to beat, like start to finish, if you know what you're doing. You know, I had a good time with it.
I should have done that. Normally, what I try to do is I play the game pure with just first impressions, and then like when I get stuck, I try to go read the manual or look at guides or watch videos or whatever. But after the 20th continue going back to the beginning of the game, I was like, fuck this. I can't do this anymore. This is pissing me off. Yeah. I was like, I'm done.
So right off the bat, there's some weird shit about this game. I think it should be said right off, like if you die at any point in this game, even at the last boss, you start at the beginning of the game. You start at the beginning of the game. Doesn't matter how far you made it. You get to keep all your items. You get to keep your gun. You get to keep your whip. You get to keep all like the items you've collected along the way. If you got any health power-ups, you keep them. But you start at the beginning. So
By the way,
you gotta not die.
2 hit points when you start the game.
Yeah.
Until you get upgrades.
That's right.
That you can get upgrade to 4.
That's right.
Do you want to describe like the kind of story of this game a little
There's
bit?
not a whole lot of story. You're Fester, you're chilling, you got sunglasses on at night for some reason, and a UFO comes and steals Gomez, and your job is to go and fight the aliens to go save the Addams family. It's pretty generic. It's weird that it's even like got the Addams Family license attached to it. It's an overhead. Would you call it a run and gun style game?
Walking,
shuffle, a shuffle and gun game.
Oh,
Fester walks a little slow, is what Jay's trying to say. And like it's got like a few different places that you go. You start off in town, which you'll return to several times. The town is kind of like broken up, and you connect the various parts of the town by going into the sewers. And then in the town there are houses and buildings. The buildings house bosses. The houses hold other members of the Addams family who will give you power ups. For instance,
they were abducted, by the way.
It's unclear, man. Like, I'm not real sure what's going on there. I mean, you do find the Addams family house, and when you walk into it, you see the whole family there, including Gomez. And you haven't saved anybody yet, So it's like I don't know what's going on here. It's
being held captive in our own house.
Yeah, it plays a lot like the overhead view of Blaster Master, which isn't necessarily everybody's favorite part of Blaster Master.
Somebody said that it uses the Blaster Master engine.
Okay.
But then when I read the interview, which there was an interview from the devs that's available to read, it said that it was basically the same team that worked on Blaster Master, like in the same location, like in the same office. So
okay,
whether they used the actual engine or they just basically rebuilt the same kind of aspect as Blaster Master, either way, there's a lot of similarities there.
It's a lot of similarities. Like you kind of move similar to you do with Blaster Master, the overhead version of Blaster Master, the overhead
Much
part.
Slower. Yeah.
You're slower, but your weapon kind of behaves similar to it does in Blaster Master. There's a bunch of similarities. Like in Blaster Master, you power up your weapon, but it degrades if you get hit by an enemy. In this game, you power up your weapon, it degrades. You power it up by collecting a blue symbol that says gun on it, and it degrades by picking up a red symbol that says gun on it. So you can actually
to figure that out.
You can max out your gun in the first 10 minutes of the game by just farming enemies until you finally get, I think, 8 blue gun symbols. But at any time, if you pick up a red one, that it degrades your gun. But you just got to be careful. It's not that difficult to avoid the red gun symbols. And then when you get a whip, same difference. Your whip can be upgraded 4 times, and it's actually way more powerful than the gun. And looks just like Castlevania whips. Like it's got like the leather whip, the chain whip, the fire whip. Like it's the same whip. But that is way more powerful. But again, it can be easily downgraded if you run over a red whip symbol.
Yeah. Why in the F do you go from a straight shooting gun?
Yes.
To a weird ass wavy gun that's really difficult to hit enemies sometimes.
It's super hard, and in the American version of the game, the gun it makes an S right out of your gun. A very wide S, wider than your character sprite. And it actually like goes around enemies sometimes. So you got to like adjust your distance to the enemy so you can hit them. But also, if you're near a wall, it'll just stop at the wall and make it impossible to even shoot an enemy.
Even if you're walking alongside the wall, it'll just...
Yeah. But if you level up your gun to level 8, it does shoot straight, and it makes the game much easier. And obviously, it's much more powerful at level 8 as well. So like that's how you play the game. It's just immediately farm enemies until you get the max upgrade on the gun and never look back.
I must have gotten to like 5 or 6 at least.
Yeah, it goes wavy, and then it gets like almost like circles going down, like with like
I didn't get there.
Ball bearings, and then it gets like triangles that shoot straight ahead. It's weird. It's a weird game. Also, it's like there's no part of this other than the fact that you're controlling Fester that really relates to the Addams Family in any way. Like, there's no humor in the game. There's no jokes. Like, Addams Family was one of the criticisms. Yeah.
So, the story is this was developed in Japan, and the people that basically had the idea of it are American, and they like were pitching this game to Sunsoft overseas and stuff, I think, and when they were just unable to communicate the humor because like they don't get the show. They didn't understand Addams Family in Japan.
Yeah.
So it was just this kind of loose depiction of the characters and whatnot, and they weren't really able to capture the essence of Addams Family because...
And there hadn't been like a modern... Like this was before the 90s movies. So there had the most recent Addams Family property was the TV show, the black and white TV show from the 60s. So like it wasn't in the public eye.
Just they said in the interview, they're like, they were really nice, very smart, but just did not understand the references at all. Like there was no understanding of what the Addams Family was or about or any of that stuff. So probably why, stuff like that happened. And one of the interesting things, one of the developers, one of the creators, I should say, of the game, this is his first game.
Yes.
And he had ended up being in the industry for like 20 plus years. This is that was it Richard Robbins or Michael Mendheim? I think it was Michael Mendheim. And I think I'm trying to read through the interview again. Yeah, Mendheim this was his first game. And he was the one who he was a designer and whatnot and kind of made his way into game design. And he's been in the industry for a long time since. But one of the whole reasons why this game is so hard is because he just forgot to put in some kind of system like a save state or...
I don't even think he forgot. I think he just didn't know to do it. Like it was his first game. He didn't know to put that in the design document.
Well, no. So he said in the interview that when they were designing this game, there was like a jump to whatever level...
Like a debug mode.
Right. So he didn't even think to put it in the documents.
Yeah.
Like to your point, he didn't even think to put it in the documents to like make it save state, even though that was originally the intent to do that. So he said basically after getting my ass chewed out from this, because it was a really short window of development. So I think it was like a few months to develop this game, and there was no time to debug, no time to redesign, no time to test properly a lot of the things. They just had to go to production. And after getting his butt chewed out, basically marketing saved his ass. They're like, all right, we're gonna market this as one of the toughest games you can get for the NES, and that ended up being like one of the sales points of this game was just how difficult it was
Yeah.
because there's no save system
Yeah. But that's the
or
only
password
reason it's
system.
hard is because there's no save system.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
really.
it's actually a relatively easy walkthrough of a game. Like,
Sure.
assuming you have a turbo controller too, because if you don't have a
Yeah.
turbo controller, good God, you have to hit that button so frequently. Yeah. Because like the even at the beginning of the game, the enemies take so much damage. But once you have a turbo controller, it's like you just walk through. You got to know to upgrade your gun right away and collect keys. Collect a lot of keys.
Yeah.
But
I had like 30 by the time I gave up. I was like, I have so many.
It does have some interesting stuff in it though. It's like you meet the other members of the Addams family along the way, and they give you upgrades. Like what's his name? Lurch gives you a noose, which is kind of funny. But what that actually does is it's like a screen clearing, like kill everything item, and you get like 20 of them. So you could just like the whole last level that's how I got through the last levels because there's a bunch of like harder enemies that shoot a bunch of shit at you. So you just like keep clicking this thing. One of the characters, I forget who gave it to me, gives you invisibility, but it's really invincibility, which is really helpful against the boss fights. And the boss fights are fucking crazy. They're, again, similar to Blaster Master. They're on a black background, and they're alien dinosaur things, just like in the Addams family. And it's... they're just like, they feel a lot like Blaster Master boss fights. It's like, you really got to get after them. But just like Blaster Master, you could cheese them. But instead of planting a bomb on them and pausing the game, what you do is use a key in a specific spot on the screen, and it insta-kills the boss.
Oh?
And it works on all of them.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
You're making me want to go back and play now.
Well, it only takes an hour. Like it's a quick run through.
So tell me, is there any way to unslow yourself from those fucking fly things?
Yes, you have to use, obviously. Oh shit, I forgot the name of the thing. Oh, damn it. What? Hold on, I have the manual still open, I think.
Because there was a couple of runs where I got hit with those like early on, and you go like a quarter speed if you get hit with it. Like it's not like you were going fast to begin with. And then you get hit by the flies, and you're just like crawling. You can't even outrun the enemies.
Jay, I don't know how you could not figure this out, but it's the vice grip. The vice grip speeds you back up, obviously.
Oh my god.
This is RTFM for sure, because it does say that in the manual. It says, if an enemy mosquito stings you, it slows you down. Use this to regain speed about the vice grip, which... Like, what about a vice grip insinuates speed to anybody? Apparently in Japan, that's what they're used for.
Hold on, let me read this manual I have.
That's
right
nice. Here. That's nice. My copy didn't come with a manual. I had to read it on the internet. But there's also like a section in the manual that just says game hints, where they say, the use of a turbo type joystick with rapid fire feature will be quite helpful.
Uh-huh.
I remember that as a kid even. I had a NES Advantage, the joystick with the 2 buttons and the turbo dials. I remember having to use that playing this game, even back then. And then it goes on to say, with a rapid-fire joystick, you can shoot and destroy slime replicator aliens and pick up many useful items quickly. So it references rapid-fire twice. Like, in the manual, like... Go get yourself an NES Max, bro. Play with power.
Play with power.
This game also has 3D, like pseudo 3D hallways, which is really bizarre. I didn't see that coming. It doesn't look nearly as good as Phantasy Star, I'll tell you that. It's like wicked choppy. It looks more like, I think like Ultima used to do that back in the day, where it's like a screen and then no animation and another screen.
And if you go the wrong way and you get turned around and exit, you got to go back in, but it like spits you out on the side of the house, even though you literally just went through the front door again.
Yeah, I was cheating and using a walkthrough, so I didn't have that problem. But You do. You get spit out. You get spit out the side of the building. You have to use another key to get back in.
Yeah. There was I watched some stuff, and there was an Angry Video Game Nerd review of this game, and he's just going absolutely crazy at some of the stuff.
That's with him. You got to remember that's a comedy show, right? And
I
like
know,
sometimes he goes crazy on a game that I don't think deserves it, and I don't think this game deserves it. I think this game is better than people give it credit for. It's a little obtuse, but you know, it was the dude's first game.
Yeah. It's funny too because Nintendo Power gave it like a 4.45 out of 5.
That's high. I wouldn't go that far.
Like they were like, we really like this game. It was funny.
You know, I think it's kind of cool. Real quick, another cool thing about this game is usually Nintendo didn't allow any kind of religious iconography. That's
Hi, Briar.
bye. But in this game, there was actually like when you finally get to the UFO, the way you get on the UFO is by going to this like grave site with like crosses and graves and everything all over the place, which is really uncommon for that to slip past the Nintendo censors in America, not necessarily in Japan. So I thought that was interesting.
You think anybody at Nintendo actually played this?
I don't know how that process works. You really are saying this is a bad game. I don't agree. I don't think this is a bad game.
No, I'm not saying it's a fundamentally bad game. I just think some of the flaws keep me from enjoying it.
I think a little bit of knowledge goes a long way on smoothing out some of the rough edges on this one.
Sure.
Like there's no reason to have that gun system in this game, I don't think. Right? And in the European version they fixed it where the gun does 4 times as much damage as it does in the American version, and it doesn't get stopped by walls, which I mean that's a major fix.
Is there a save state or like password system there too?
I don't think they added that, no.
Gotcha.
But there is a game genie.
It's true. So I'm sitting here looking at a blank screen.
Yeah, my bad. It got a little warm in this room. I didn't turn on the air conditioner. I didn't realize it got up to 80 degrees in here. And when it gets that hot, my camera goes into like thermal meltdown mode and just turns off. So
fun.
Yeah, that happens. Oh. I didn't realize it was getting that hot. I was having so much fun talking about Fester's Quest, which you'll see in the screen. It says Uncle Fester's Quest on the title screen, but it's on the box. It says Fester's Quest. What's up with that? Is it called Uncle Fester's Quest or is it called Fester's Quest? Where do I alphabetize this? In the F's or in the U's?
Yeah, right. There's like I should send the video to you. It's actually, let's see if I can find it. Basically, it's a YouTube video, and it's the intro. And it's basically, you know how the aliens come in and they like abduct his family and stuff, and he's like, "Oh my god!" There's a meme of this, and it's basically the aliens come in. Oh, you saw it?
Yeah. Describe it anyway. It's good.
Okay, here it is. I literally found it. It's Fester's Quest UFJDGAS version. So after the abduction, Fester just looks at the camera and he shrugs.
Yeah. So I'm playing in the third window. I'm playing the intro for the game, and you'll see like the UFO comes in behind Fester, and Fester looks at it, and his glasses pop up, and he looks back at the camera all surprised. But in this version that Jay is describing, his glasses stay down. He looks at the camera, and then it comes up with a splash screen that says, "Uncle Fester don't give a fuck."
Yeah, Uncle Fester just doesn't give a fuck, and it plays the music in the beginning. It's I don't know why it's hilarious.
I think
it's the best part of the game right there.
Yeah. Fine. So, I'm sorry you didn't like my game.
It was just frustrating. I enjoyed bits and pieces of it when I wasn't slow and when I wasn't getting my guns stuck on walls and shit and whatnot. It was fine. Starting back at the beginning.
Also, do you think that's the same frog from Blaster Master? Do you think that's Fred?
God, the fucking frogs. There was one version of the frog that just pain in the ass to kill.
I'm sorry you didn't like the game. I was wondering.
Fine. I think, yeah, your nostalgia glasses are strong with this one.
That could be. That's fair.
You got your pickup of Fester. Oh, hey, we're back.
There we go. I turned on the air conditioning.
Fester Quest.
I did, and it's actually interesting. I can't show you the cartridge that I got because it's in the thing, playing the thing up there. But what I found interesting about this was I got this for $7 off of eBay. Generally, when I'm trying to get like cheap games like this, I'll try and find like a lot so I can get like a few games for like $30 because like when you pay as much for shipping as you do for the game, it feels like you're kind of getting a bad value, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't find any of those, but what I did find was one of these bit boxes. So the game came in one of these. This is, I think it says the name of the company, Stone Age Gamer. And it's a box specifically, like it holds the NES cartridge in it in a manual if you have one in it. And then it has, a reproduction of the art for the case, for the box on the outside. And so I went to Stone Age Gamer to look up how much these cost, and they're $3, which doesn't sound like a lot until you start like doing the math, like how many games would I want to do? Oh, okay, multiply that by 100, and now you're up to $300. Like, okay, that gets.
Then you got to do art.
Yeah, and then you can print out the art yourself, but if you want them to send you the art, it costs like $1.50 per print. At that point, it's probably cheaper to just buy a printer. Like I don't think it's a highway robbery for $1.50 for a printout. For a high quality printout, but
right.
Like when you're getting 100, like literally, like you start doing the math, you're like, okay, it does pay. It does make sense to go buy a printer.
I need to do that for. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was pretty impressed with this. Like I don't know that I would do it for all my games, but it is nice to know the game is in here and protected from dust, from humidity, from anything like that, and to be able to look at the box art. I don't collect the boxes like Jay does. I just collect the cartridges, and I try and only collect games that I want to play, but to have it protected in here, but also be able to see the box art and to look at, like, a lot of people think this is ugly box art, but I think it's fucking cool looking. So I like having that, and it's neat to be able to see that without having to pay the cartridge, the complete in-box price, Yeah.
Bit boxes are cool. I need to pick up a few. I have now I have a loose TurboGrafx 16 game that I don't know what the hell to do with.
Oh, what game is that?
So, it was Darkwing Duck. I don't know if did I show that to you?
That's an expensive game, yeah.
Yeah, it was very expensive. Yeah, and it was the story too. Like I had been eyeing that for a long time, and they had it priced at $139, which was like right where the market is. So I ended up picking it up, and they rang it up, and they're like, "I need to go talk to somebody." And they came back. They're like, "Yeah, it was in our system for $199, even though it said $139 on the sticker." But they're like, "We're gonna give it to you for $139." I just had to like confirm.
Man, now
it was good.
I saw that for $90, and I thought that was expensive. I wish I picked it up now.
Well, the market on it is anywhere in the 150 to 200 range
for just a loose cartridge,
and then the complete with the outer box is like 400, like with the cardboard box and stuff. With just the case, it's not that much more, but it's expensive. It's a shitty game, but it's expensive.
Is it a shitty game? That's too bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
Darkwing Duck was a dope ass cartoon.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it on our Darkwing Duck episode about how the TurboGrafx game was not good. I think. I got a bunch.
That was my pickup. That was the only one.
I have a bunch. So obviously, I have Fester's Quest. As soon as you announced that, I went on eBay and looked for the best, cleanest, cheapest copy.
How much was a complete in-box one?
Well, complete in-box you can get for 40-ish, but the one that I have is like in near mint condition and has all of the inserts and everything in it. So it was like 65.
Oh, that's not crazy.
It's not horrible, but yeah.
For a classic like this, IGN named this game number 45 on the top 100 NES games.
There's also somebody that has it on a list of like the top 25 worst games ever list.
There's idiots all over the internet.
But yeah, so it's got I can just show real quick. You pay extra for the inserts. Like you can get just box manual cart, or you can get there's the cart and the sleeve, and then all of the inserts. There's a lot of inserts. There's like the you know the
Warranty.
registration card for Sunsoft. There's like just like the regular Nintendo Power insert. There's the manual, and then there's the poster.
There's a poster for
Which-
Fester's Quest?
There's a poster for Fester's Quest.
Oh, shit. I didn't know I needed
know
it
if
until I needed it.
I don't know if this has ever been unraveled, so excuse me while I try not to.
It's so pretty.
Look at that face. Face
Hold
that
on.
only you could love.
Are they
Briar.
advertising T-shirts at the bottom?
Yeah, there's like Fester's Quest T-shirts and Master Blaster and Platoon
Oh, my God.
and Spy Hunter.
Dude, I still find it hilarious they made an NES game out of Platoon.
There's a
There's not
t-shirt
a
order form on the
more
back.
rated R movie that I've ever seen in my life.
Platoon.
Yeah, they made an NES game out of it.
Well, like the final or the Friday the 13th and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah,
What the heck?
yeah. I guess you're right about that.
So weird. All right, I'm putting it back in the box real quick.
That's cool. I'm sure you'll treasure it as one of your top NES games. Of all
Well, I don't
time.
know. Anything that's on the podcast. By the way, this shelf right here, I'm turning into like podcast show.
Oh, really? Oh, that's smart. I like
stuff.
that.
So it looks kind of janky because they're all like different systems and stuff. But
I've been trying. I'm still trying to get the a good copy of Phantasy Star without paying like over $200 for it.
oh yeah, mine I think I got for 165, but it had the poster in it and stuff.
Oh, that's pretty good. So
I think you can get it.
That's the quest I'm on.
Yeah. So good luck with that. Right. So this was on the shelf, but I took it off because I wanted to show it. I got this. I paid a little under market for it, but it's,
What is it?
It's,
I can't
I
see
don't
it.
know. WarioWare
I-
Twisted for the GBA.
Big window.
So this has the lenticular on the front, similar to like
Oh,
Majora's
neat.
Mask. So this is a game. It's got a big box because it's got a gyroscope on the cart. It's one of those games where you like tilt the thing.
Yeah.
But it was in really good shape, and this is a game. This is one of those games that's like $100+ just for the cart, or like 150 to 180 complete. So I was like, all right. So I picked it up complete. Yeah. I got a whole bin. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Today is a day all about shitty SNES games.
Oh,
I have a
okay.
lot of them.
I thought you were going to say
Quickly.
NES games. I was going to take great
No,
offense.
SNES. Lagoon for SNES,
Uh-huh.
which Lagoon.
That's the whole name. Just Lagoon.
Lagoon.
What?
It is.
What is that game about?
Like an RPG. It's like an
okay.
RPG game. I think it's kind of like Zelda-esque, but just terrible.
Oh.
Not
too
like
bad.
none of these that I'm about to talk about are really any good. Ultima, The False Prophet, is another RPG. I mean, Ultima has a ton of games out there and whatnot.
Yeah.
Again, not a great game. We'll go quickly. Ease 3. Also not a great game, but an okay game. But a lot
Okay.
of these are like 4s and under out of 10.
Oh,
Those
wow.
That have been
They're still
reviewed.
cracking those Ease games out.
Yeah.
I think Ease,
there's some
Ease
good
9
ones,
or
like
10
for-
just came out recently.
I think the ones like on PSP are really good and sought after.
Okay.
Another one, King Arthur. This is one of the bigger ones that I got because this is like a child. A lot of these were from the same guy. I just bought like a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So King Arthur, The Knights of Justice for SNES. It has all the inserts. It's mint and everything.
Is that like a beat 'em up?
Kinda?
Who's it made by? Is it Capcom?
No.
No, so it's not that arcade game.
I don't even know who it's
Okay.
made by. It doesn't even have Enix.
Oh.
It's an Enix game.
Before Square Enix, there was just Enix.
It is not a good game. You're basically a knight, obviously. You're King Arthur, and you run around, and you're like, it's like a top-down kind of fighter game. But I think there's like
okay.
progression and stuff where you can level stuff up, and there's bosses and things.
Kari
like,
Knights of the Round Table.
Kind of, sorta. I watched some video on it, and the sound effects are awful. It's like
Uh,
pink, 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 like over and over again. Oh, it's bad. But I don't know. I like obscure stuff. We've talked about this before, but now I have a complete unboxed Blackthorn, which is actually a good game.
yes, that is a cool game.
Platforming, almost like Indiana Jones style, Pitfall style platforming.
I had the
fighting
32X version of that when it was new. I wish I still had it.
How is that expensive to get?
I have no idea. I don't own a 32X anymore.
Oh, good point. I don't think 32X is just as a console or that expensive, but if you wanted to get,
I think they're like
$100
$100 probably. Not bad. But they were a few years ago.
Talked about this, but now I have it mint complete in box. This was also his childhood copy. Big Sky Trooper. So if I remember correctly, there's a game, was it Ninja Warriors, that was developed by the same people that did this or something? And they also did like Metal Warrior and a couple of other like expensive, rare, obscure, really good games. This is their not good game that they made.
Well,
but I just I like weird stuff. This is like you start as a little boy and you kind of go around. I think you're in space and you get in this little machine that looks like a teapot and you're killing shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look at that. Look at the little boy and girl on this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just going after it. This was one that I was targeting. So
oh, okay.
I was happy to get
Is
it. It's. I mean, I paid roughly market for it. It's not a super expensive game, but just I don't know. I like obscure stuff like that too. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Oh, I remember when that came out. Yeah.
Which this is one of those games where you look at the animation, you're like, that looks cool, and
yeah,
then
it looks
you realize
hella good. Yeah.
platforming is awful and the gameplay itself is awful, but the motion looks good. It's like very fluid, almost like Shaq Fu, just like fluid motion.
Was it? That was the one that was based off of the movie starring Robert De Niro, right?
That I'm not sure.
I don't think Robert De Niro's in the game. I think that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the game, was based off of the movie.
No, and the thing is too, you're going around as the monster.
Yeah.
You play as the monster, but why is it called Frankenstein? Because Frankenstein's the doctor.
Because nobody knows that shit, man. Everybody just thinks it's Frankenstein.
I know. It's like the Zelda Link bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm getting confused. Here's an actual pretty good game. This box is in not great shape, but Arrow the Acrobat.
Yeah. It's a Sunsoft game. Yeah.
Yeah. This is actually a good game. So this is one of the good ones. Obviously busted up box, but platforming adventure type game. Solid.
Yeah, we should definitely add that to the list of like to plays because I've heard that one's good. I've never had a chance.
There's two of them. And then the classic.
Oh yeah.
Primal Rage.
Give me some of that dinosaur on dinosaur action, and not the sexual like kind. I mean the fighting kind.
It looks like the dinosaur got a hold of this box.
Yeah, seriously, I think it looks like it got run over by a pickup truck.
I mean, I basically paid cart price for this completed box. So I was like, whatever.
Still, that's cool.
If you've never played Primal Rage, it's basically dinosaurs and monsters fighting against each other. It is awful, but amazing at the same time.
Yeah, it's awful, but still worth playing. Like, do yourself a favor.
Playing that as a kid.
I wonder if it's in MAME. I wonder if the arcade version is in MAME.
It's one of those games that as a kid you saw the art and you're like, I gotta play that. You know, like just speaking to my childhood.
Like it came out right after Street Fighter 2 as well, so it's like we didn't really know what made a good or bad fighting game yet.
Right.
We just were like, oh, another fighting game. This one's got dinosaurs in it. Fucking A.
It's like Clay Fighter 2, you know.
Yeah.
So somebody in chat says it looks so shiny. It's because it's in a plastic protector case. You know, they're like 30 cents, so I get a bunch of them and pop them on those. No, this is not the last game from this guy.
Oh, that's a classic right there. Yeah.
For NES, it's actually a really good game. It's one of the better sports games, and apparently, I learned about this afterwards. The Red Classic Konami series version is the more sought after, rare version of this.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that
because it was rare.
There's one that doesn't have the red border around it. That's just the normal version.
I still love all of those Konami box arts from the NES with that like silver art, like line style thing. Like all of them had it from that era, and they're all cool looking, especially Castlevania and Contra.
Showing the fight in the background.
Yeah. Blades of
Nintendo.
Steel was dope, man.
Yeah. All right.
That was a
we'll go
heavy
with
hitter
this
for
one.
the NES.
Yeah, everybody had that game. It's not expensive. It's like $20 or $30 complete. It's not expensive. So Alleyway for Game Boy, super classic.
It's like
This I
Arkanoid.
found out has multiple prints as well. This is the one that I got as the first print. Any Game Boy games with the green screens is typically a first print, because then they
Okay.
remade them with like the kind of yellowish screens. So the person that I bought this from didn't realize that they had a first print, so I just got that for no more price. But complete in box, Game Boy game, always fun. This game, DK King of Swing, again another not very expensive game. I didn't even realize what this game
So
was.
like DK's going to a key party. We gotta swerve off. What is that? King of Swing?
What?
DK's a swinger.
The King of Swing. Oh my god. Oh no. Hey baby, wanna see my banana? All right. This game is not what I expected. It's basically like a puzzle game, action game. I watched the video. Donkey Kong's just swirling in circles over and over again like this.
Uh-huh.
And you have to go from peg to peg to peg to peg, like swirling, like up and down. It's really hard to explain. You know, like a Peggle board. You know that game Peggle.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but Donkey Kong superimposed over the top of it, swinging from peg to peg in a circular motion. That's what it looks like to me.
Sadly, Primal Rage is not in MAME.
Oh.
I just looked it up. Sad about it.
So I left the best two games for last. So this was the game that I was targeting, that I ended up buying all these other games from this guy. Mega Man, Dr. Wily's Revenge for the GBA complete in box. I'm trying to get all of the Mega Man games for Game Boy complete in box.
Oh.
4 and 5 are expensive. I have 4 complete. 5
is that the
pretty
first one
expensive.
for Game Boy? Because it doesn't have a number on it. So would
Correct.
would Dr. Wily's Revenge be referring to Mega Man for the NES? Like, is that the sequel to Mega Man 1?
Guessing.
That's interesting. Man, they really fucked up Mega Man art boxes for like a long time before they got it right, didn't they?
This was after Mega Man 2. It says
after Mega Man 2.
Overriding levels ruled by 8 different android annihilators from Mega Man and Mega Man 2. So it was
I mean, they're starting to get the art right on that box, but it's still not there yet.
Yeah. Probably the same guy. Yeah, at least it wasn't a dude with a fucking pistol.
The first box? That first box, man, that's classic. That was also on the cover of the first Electronic Gaming Monthly, that same image of Mega Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you show your copy of Primal Rage again? Is it just the blue ape's face? No, okay. So I think there's another cover variant of that, because when I looked it up in my completely legit library of games on my PC, there's a version of that game for the Super NES that just has the face of the blue ape screaming, but not the arm raised in the air. But maybe that's a European or something.
Yeah, it could be. Save $4 at Six Flags. Coupon inside.
Oh, that'll come in handy.
$4. In the last game, and this is one that I thought for years that I had complete in my collection, but I didn't.
Uh-huh. Oh, the Manhattan Project.
Manhattan Project for NES.
NES.
Yeah, this is TMNT 3.
Yeah, that's expensive, right?
It is. I mean, complete in box, it's going for between $200 and $300. I got it for $180 off eBay, so
yeah,
a little under.
Even the cart is going for a lot, right?
50-ish.
Oh,
Cart
that's not
only,
crazy bad.
But I wanted to get, because prices are like super going up very fast, and I was like, I've been wanting to get this in my collection forever. Obviously, these are a lot of expensive games. I need to catch up on selling stuff, or my wife's gonna kill me. I'm a little behind. I'm working on it.
Your wife and my wife should have a picnic of hate because my wife's going to kill me if I buy a Street Fighter 2 arcade cabinet, and I'm real close to doing it.
I go on, I'll buy a big lot from somebody or something, and I'll be like, all right,
Yeah.
now I gotta make the moves. It's just
Yeah.
how it works.
I looked up Primal Rage. Primal Rage came out for the Genesis and the Super NES, but it also came out for the Sega Saturn. But there was definitely a Primal Rage 2 in arcades, right?
That I don't know.
I'm almost positive there was a 2, but maybe I'm crazy. I'll have to Wikipedia it.
Somebody
But it doesn't
out
look
there
like it
might
ever got
remember.
a release, like a home console release.
Yeah, I don't remember any other Primal Rages on console.
No, yeah, it doesn't seem to. But I could have sworn it came out in arcades. I think there was a Primal Rage 2.
Right. I have two choices. Briar.
Memory's a little fuzzy from back in the day, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Two choices. All right, I like the choices. I think this is the way to go forward. The choices are fun.
I'm not going to show you what they are, though. I'm just going to describe a couple of things about them.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the first one is they're both very well known.
Okay.
So no obscure titles.
Yeah.
No, because we've had Fester's Quest and Blaster Master were kind of more obscure.
No, those are classics. Well-known classics.
But not like mainline type games. So the first one's a sports game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm going to say. We haven't done any sports games yet.
That's all I get? It's a sports game? No, I don't even get to know what sport.
It's a mainline sports game. That's all you're going to get.
Mainline sport
okay,
game, like a Mario golf game or something like that.
I'm not even going to say what system
golf
they're
is
for, 'cause
coming
I'll give it
to
away.
the Switch.
It
Online
is a
service.
sports game that is not connected to Nintendo characters.
Oh. Okay. All right. What's the other option?
Sports game. The other option is another main game that is a sequel to one that I guess not necessarily a sequel, but in the same IP as one that we've covered already.
Huh.
But a very
Same
well-known
IP.
game.
Very well-known game. I'm tempted on both of these because I don't think we've ever done a sports game yet. But I'm so curious to know. Will you tell me what the other one was if I...
Should I? I can.
I don't know what to pick, Jay. Let's go with the... I want to do a sports game. Let's do a sports game. What do we got? Fuck yeah. That's a classic.
Jam.
That's a
He's
classic.
on fire.
I don't think I own regular NBA Jam. I think I own NBA Jam Tournament Edition, which I think is just a roster change. So I think I can play that.
I can, what's the difference between...
I don't know. NBA Jam and NBA Jam Tournament Edition. I feel like it's just like a roster update. But I don't actually know. I'm sure it says on Wikipedia or something. What was the other game?
1 sec. I'm just trying to... He's like, tell me!
Yeah.
Well, my keyboard's... All right. The other game was Super Mario World.
Oh, I'm so glad we did NBA. I was just actually reading something this week that there is actually input latency in Super Mario World, which makes it unsuitable for testing input latency in emulators and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
For the
game itself has input latency built into it.
That's so
Which
bizarre.
doesn't make it less playable, or it's not a knock on the game. It just makes it not a good testing tool for determining input latency for USB controllers or emulators or stuff like that.
It's funny. This was the game that I tested with my Ouya.
Yeah.
Emulation-wise to see how bad the latency was. And
How bad was it?
God awful.
God awful.
It was like, boom, jump, boom, jump, boom, jump. I was like, yep, I'm never playing this again.
We're spoiled these days with how good and how easy it is to play these games on modern TVs because it was real bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
Hook up a NES to your modern 4K TV, and it's a shit show. And I'll tell you what, is most 4K TVs handle it way better than TVs did 10 years ago. They didn't know what the fuck to do with it. It was
You want
bad.
to? You want to know the difference between normal and TE?
I sure do.
Tournament mode, cheats. Let's see. Wait. Oh, more roster options, and then you can be like Bill Clinton and shit.
Oh, that's right.
Why?
Now that I think about it, I think I have the Genesis version. So is that acceptable, or should I get the Super Nintendo version?
It says there's more options to play through, including the tournament mode, where cheats were barred and you had to beat all 27 teams in a row.
With save games or no? Probably not.
No. I say we stick to the original.
The original. Okay, so should I get the? I'll get the Super Nintendo version then.
Sure. I don't know if there's much difference between Super Nintendo. I mean, you could do NBA Jam difference.
I'm sure this is like a $6 game, right?
Yeah, it's not expensive.
Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna order it off of eBay tonight.
And there's like no. They're just talking about like tournament edition.
Anyhow,
I guess that could be part of our note. It could be part of our notes, as if there's like any difference between
yeah.
Super Nintendo and Genesis.
All right,
But
maybe
for those who haven't played NBA Jam, is it accessible anywhere besides a cart?
I don't know. That would be if it was something, because that was made by Midway, right? So maybe in some kind of like Midway arcade collection. But I mean, it's got the NBA license attached to it, so it may be hard to find. Did I close MAME already? I wonder if it's in MAME.
Lot. Go to Wikipedia. Usually Wikipedia says, yeah, I don't think so.
I didn't know that they made NBA Jam 99 and NBA Jam 2000 for the N64.
Really?
Yeah. But it is in MAME, so you can play the arcade version in MAME.
Oh.
They made a version for the Master System? Oh, I might have to get that. That might be fun. It's a black box, though. What's up with that? All right, Jay, we should wrap this up. We're too much dead air here. What are you up to for the next couple of weeks besides playing a fuck ton of Destiny?
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of Destiny on Twitch, basically, and Twitter is where you can mainly find me at JSniperton. And yeah, lots of Destiny, grinding, getting ready for the raid, and then 10 NBA Jam. How about you?
I'm going to be playing Destiny. I got into Horizon Forbidden West, so I'm going to try and fit that in another 60-hour game in with Destiny. I don't know how that'll go. Plus, I'm trying to get good at King of Fighters. That was a poor decision to even start that. I'll just play NBA Jam for the next 2 weeks. How about that?
I don't know if it'll sustain you for that long, but
I don't know. It's a pretty fun game.
Afternoon game.
There's NBA Showtime too, which I think was like the sequel. We'll do some research. We'll get back to you in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
we'll have all the NBA Jam facts that you need to know.
There you go.
For the water cooler at work. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.